subscribe, and ring the bell.
What a fine, sturdy creature you are. Look at Coco, just standing there like a furry statue. You must be hungry for some sweet greens, friend. Golden sunlight warms the sweat on my neck, making me remember the scent of my mother's prayer shawl. Curious tofu, the boar wanders near the edge. You look like you know exactly where the sweetest roots are hiding. A parrot lands on the driftwood piling. Look at him. He seems quite bold this morning. Smells like the salt spray is getting heavy. Look at Figo, wandering through the mist like a misplaced patch of earth. Miss swirls thick as watered milk around my ankles. Daisy stares at me with those unblinking, gentle eyes. Sweat beads on my brow, slick as spilled oil. These sheep are mocking my predicament, Wilson. I cannot quite squeeze through this damned crevice. Never. Blast it all, this patch of earth has got a vendetta against my very ankles. I feel like a sardine jammed in a tin. I'll use my belt buckle. I swear I will claw myself free of. Jesus Marija, this blasted earth has snagged my very bones. Hazel, you look like you've seen a man this stuck before. This very knot of jungle roots is trying to claim my tibia. I'll wrestle this stubborn bit of undergrowth loose with my bare hands, I vow it. Remember the grand hall at the Lido. The crystal chandeliers seem to drip with pure, captured sunlight. I recall the waiter, with his immaculate white gloves, balancing a tower of warm, flaky bread that smelled like heaven. We sat at his small table, the murmur of polite chatter washing over me like a gentle tide. Then, a little girl dropped her napkin, and the whole perfect moment shattered into dust motes in the warm air. I look at this dirt now, and sometimes I swear I can still smell that faint, yeasty sweetness mixed with the salt. Zoos, the duck waddles right up. You certainly have the most inquisitive little gaze today. These sturdy poles will make a proper tower, Wilson, so any passing sail can see me signal my presence. Shiny shells catch the sun near the tide line, reminding me of the splintered wood of that third raft. I remember the crushing reef and pulling you back from the deep water. Sunlight catches Oscar's scales as he slides past those wide leaves and rocks. You know, they gather enough morning dew to wet a throat. Whispers of that whale's song still drift in the quiet air, making me wonder if such vast loneliness ever tires one's spirit. Perhaps tomorrow, I will drag those larger logs up to the highest point, building something visible for the deep blue expanse. I hope it will be a beacon, a sign that something steady still breathes out here. Hey there, Oscar the Snake. You move through this fog like a ribbon of emerald smoke. Bright sun beats down, making the salt crust on my skin feel like a second, unwelcome coat. I just need to keep these sturdy poles upright, like a celestial map points to true north, Wilson. Seeing Ziggy the lion approach makes me pause. Hello, Ziggy. What manner of grand inquiries do you possess today? Curse this verdant trap. I am snagged like a discarded tapestry thread. Bruno can't even trip me out of this mess. I shall dislodge these grasping vines with nothing but the brute force of a man. Jesus Marija, this wretched earth has gripped me tighter than a clamshell. I swear I'll peel myself free like a stubborn barnacle from a hull. By the saints, I'm caught fast, wedged here like a shipwrecked idol. Bella stares at me with such calm judgment, but I will tear myself out with my own 2 hands. Momo, you brute. This damp earth has clamped around my ankle like a greedy, moss-covered fist. I'll rip myself out, even if I have to use my teeth on this wicked soil. This gray curtain falling feels like a shroud, making me want to just sit here and count the drips hitting the sand. Look at Bruno. He seems unimpressed by this deluge, so I suppose a roof over the shelter must be the next great endeavor. Drip, drip, drip. It sounds like the ceaseless weeping of the Blessed Mother. I wonder if we need to lash these palm fronds up tighter, Wilson. Hark! This damp ground has caught my boot like a traitorous net. I shall claw through this muddy snare with all the might of a returning voyager. Little crab, you scuttle sideways through the wet sand like a tiny, forgotten jewel box. Now the forest floor shines like black glass under the steady patter of drops. Maybe I should gather some more dry tinder before the downpour turns everything into mud. Ruddy, you gentle creature, seem quite comfortable near the fire pit tonight. Kiwi just stood there, chewing slowly near the edge of the clearing. It brings me back to that autumn when the whole bracken turned the color of spilled sunset, a blazing orange I could never quite capture on bark. I spent a whole morning at the library trying to find a proper word for that dusty, unbelievable gold of the oak leaves. Remember that crate? The one stuffed with those ridiculous porcelain dolls. They were supposed to go to some fancy house in the city, all painted smiles and chipped paint. I remember feeling so much expectation hanging around those little beast faces, like they held the answers to everything. Then, a rogue wave hit the stack, sending them scattering across the wet pier with a sound like breaking china. I picked up one, its painted eyes staring up at the gray sky, and in that moment, the perfect, heartbreaking shine of its glaze felt more real than the actual world around me. Good heavens, the soggy patch has snagged my trouser leg like a thorny vine. I'll wrestle myself loose, even if I must drag Wilson through the mud with me. Blast it all, this wretched patch of earth has snagged my leg like a giant, slimy python. I swear this accursed island does not want me departing. My very sinews feel like they've turned to sodden rope. This stubborn patch of earth grips me like a jealous hermitess. Stars blaze overhead, mocking my predicament with their distant, perfect indifference. I shall rip myself free of this grasping dirt like a man breaking chains at the gates of heaven. Momo, you steady brute, look at this terrible grip the earth has on me. It's like the whole cursed jungle decided to trap me in amber. I will claw my way out of this watery pocket. Bye. Tofu, you magnificent beast, seem quite contemplative tonight. It reminds me of the day I first managed to coax that roaring fire into existence near the lagoon. I was so tired from hauling driftwood that I almost just let the damp sticks lie there, defeated. But then I remembered the sheer will of it, the tiny spark needing just a little push, a bit more breath. I nearly wept when those flames finally licked up, casting dancing shadows that made the whole jungle seem alive and breathing. It was the most wonderful, glorious light, a promise burning bright against the endless, stardusted dark. Lola, you old friend, seem quite curious about my meager pile of scavenged driftwood. Perhaps you sense the scent of a decent meal brewing tonight. Fog hangs heavy like a shroud across the bay, making every moment feel utterly unmeasured by any ticking hands. Time here, it seems, is only marked by the turning tide and the burn in my aching muscles. Jesu Marija, this muddy patch has caught my ankle like a tentacle from the deep. I swear I cannot pull free. Not even a nimble little snail could outpace this wretched grip. Mist creeps in so thick it feels like breathing wet wool. I wonder if the spirits of the sea are watching me through this great curtain. By the grace of the Father, this unforgiving earth has caught me like a greedy hand. I shall tear this jungle maw open, Wilson, by sheer force of this stubborn, blessed flesh. Nala just watched me like I was some fascinating piece of debris. This mud patch grips me tighter than any anchor chain. I must muscle free of this earth's cruel embrace. Gee whiz, I think I shall start fashioning a proper signal pyre on the highest ridge tomorrow. Remembering how lightning works, I know dry, layered tinder near the crest will catch like a dream. Ruddy, you lumbering monument, look how the starlight catches the damp sheen on your coat. You stare at me like you know some secret about this island I've forgotten. Overhead, the pinpricks of distant heavenly lights seem scattered like spilled sugar across black velvet. I should really check the western edge before the moon dips too low tonight. Gracious heavens, this damp loam has snatched my boot like a jealous spider web. I will wrest myself from this suffocating embrace by the dawn. Oh, blast these roots. They have snagged my foot like a fisherman's net. Wilson, I swear I shall rip this island's embrace apart before I am free. My stomach just filed a formal complaint about the coconut situation. Look at that parrot, little feathered wonder. You seem to know exactly where the best nuts are hidden this fine eve. Gosh, this patch of ground has caught my heel like a villain's grappling hook. I'll shake this damp floor until I'm spitting salt spray and loose grit. Whale, you magnificent giant, you breached through the mist like a blessing from the Father himself tonight. Fog presses in like a damp, woolen shroud, making the nearest palm trunks look like the bones of forgotten giants. Amazing, Bella just snuffled near my foot, reminding me of the day I first struck that flame, a glorious, dancing promise against the dark. Ziggy, you magnificent stripe of curiosity, you make the perfect living statue for my grand SOS display. I wonder if a tower built of all the salvage timbers would really catch the eye of a passing brigantine. By the grace of God, this stubborn root has snagged my ankle like a rogue grappling hook. I swear I'll pull free with the strength of my granddaughter's blessing. Crimson stain of the tide has caught my shin like a grasping tentacle. I swear this cursed sand will not release me until I stand tall again. Found a flat patch of ground and nearly wept. You don't know luxury until you've lived on a slope. Look at that hermit crab, little scurrying fellow. You seem awfully comfortable near the tide pools tonight. Brilliant sunlight pours down like spilled honey, making me feel as robust as if I just left the docks. Stray bird, you little feathered marvel, you sing a song that sounds like a poorly tuned flute this bright afternoon. Loki, you sly creature, slithering by the fresh water like a ribbon of emerald silk. Hey there, pal! You piglets always know the best spot to gather for a good soaking, don't you? there's a little gecko darting across the damp rock. You seem remarkably unconcerned by this thick fog, little chap. Seeing Pika graze so calmly through this soup of fog, I just hope some kind soul considers a bit of support for the beacon I plan to raise up. Mist hangs so thick it feels like a damp shroud draped over the entire emerald world, almost like God himself is keeping us hidden until the right time. Fog rolls in so thick, you can't even see Wilson's face, making me think about how meteor showers are just space rocks passing Earth's way, year after year. Bruno, you magnificent goat, stare at me like that. It reminds me of the time I built that first little chair. I swear, the moment I sat down, it gave a groan like a dying giant, and then thwack, it collapsed into splinters right before Wilson. I buried those pieces near Captain's stump, whispering a little prayer for my lost dignity. Raindrops are drumming a steady rhythm on the thatch, making the whole beach smell intensely of salt and wet earth. I remember trying to teach Periwinkle to bring me sticks, first using the branch as a pointer, then with little coaxing whistles, until he just stared at me like a wet piece of driftwood. That little creature eventually suggested breadcrumbs instead, and I admit, the sheer absurdity of it made me laugh until my ribs hurt. These two boars are practically mocking me right now. I am utterly trapped in this muck, like a forgotten toy soldier in a wet sand. I swear by the Holy Mother, I will wrench myself free at the sug embrace. The scent of rain on hot, dry dust brings back the memory of a bustling bistro, the clinking of silverware against porcelain. Now only the damp grit under my worn boots answers my thoughts. I really ought to stare at reinforcing the roof pitch before the next downpour hits. Crystal formations glitter on the tide pools, catching the sun like spill jewels for the Almighty to admire. Bright sunbeams glitter across the sand, making me think how stars never waver up there, floating so high above our atmosphere. Might I fashion a proper drying rack for the herbs, something sturdy enough to withstand a proper gale? Curious little crab, you're inspecting this wood with such concentration. You've seen things, haven't you? When I was a boy, before the ocean swallowed my life, there was a kitchen with a constant, comforting hiss. I remember standing by the copper kettle, watching the steam spiral up like a prayer toward the rafters. My mother, bless her soul, would hum some old hymn while she worked, and the scent of yeast bread baking always clung to my clothes. One afternoon, she called my name from the next room, a clear, sweet sound that cut through the sounds of the day. I ran to answer, feeling a joy so pure it almost hurt, and that simple sound, that call, remains the brightest bell I've ever heard. Mango slithers by, looking suspiciously pleased with itself. I must be the island's only permanent fixture, like a lonely candle burning in an endless ocean of green. Green fronds curve overhead like the painted wings of some celestial bird, blocking out the glare. Kiwi, you gentle giant, chew on at clover with such contented bliss. You certainly make this whole stretch of beach look like a proper grazing pasture. Little bird, you perch so high up, you must have the best view of the whole vast blue expanse from up there. Yesterday, setting the lines for the signal fire felt like building a chapel, something meant to reach the very heavens above us. Stone placement feels so much easier than threading those thick ropes for the boat. At least, that only requires a bit of pulling strength. Looking at that clear blue expanse, I recall always knowing that rivers always flow downhill, which means a wider river is a clearer path to lower ground. Wonderful! This little dock section feels sturdy enough for a respectable sloop to moor against. The sky stretches so blue today. I wonder if any signal would ever come through the ether, a simple buzz like a forgotten message. Remember the day I finally got the scaffolding up for that second story? Standing there, looking out, I saw the reef spread out like scattered bone china, and I knew from that height, the whale's breath would be visible right there. It was a feeling, Wilson, like fatally seeing the altar after years in the dark. Bright stripes on Maj's flanks catch the sun like streaks of painted sunlight. First taste of fire felt like a miracle, Wilson, a tiny warm heart beating right here in the palm of my hand. Look, there goes a magnificent sea turtle, moving with such deliberate grace, it's like some ancient piece of slow-motion emerald jewelry drifting by. The afternoon I tried to introduce Periwinkle and the Admiral. We settled on that flat rock, which served as our makeshift negotiation table. I remember the salt spray catching the blue ceramic shard in Periwinkle's tiny grasp, a souvenir she surely did not bring with her. It was quite the diplomatic disaster, Wilson. Watch those two foxes darting past. They are having a real spirited disagreement about the prime napping spot, I wager. Dust motes dance in the sunbeams, making the glass seem like a captured piece of heaven. A minute hand, always stuck at that dreadful moment, reminds me how much time I've already lost. This sunshine feels like a blessing upon the skin, Wilson. I should really get the roof beams up before the evening cools things down. Bella, hello there. You are tracing patterns on the warm sand like some meticulous artist at work. Such a dazzling expanse of blue overhead, Wilson. It makes me think of the perfect, endless sheet of linen for a grand...
Subscribe and ring the bell.